So this instrument is a Renaissance lute, and it's an instrument made by a guy who lives in Munich named Gerhard Söhne, and he makes all kinds of lutes. You notice that the back of it is rounded. It has ribs, they're called, and the number of the ribs and the kind of wood is sometimes different. It has this kind of a neck and this shape. You notice it's bent backwards, probably so the strings stay nice and tight over the edge. A guitar is also back a little bit, but this instrument has the strings are very lightly strung, so a guitar has very heavy strings with a lot of tension. The lute has much less tension on it, on the strings, and so maybe it needs a little bit more tension here over the nut, we call it, of the instrument. You notice something interesting here. If you're a guitarist, you would notice that this instrument has frets that go all the way around. It's because they can do this. I can move them, and then all the paper things fall out. But the moving part of this is important because I can tune my lute actually a little bit. I can make these notes a little bit lower or a little bit higher, depending on the kind of tuning I want to have. And we call this mean tone tuning. And there are various kinds of mean tone tunings that we can make with a lute then. It's very flexible in comparison to a guitar. You notice also it has a lot of pegs, and that's because almost all of the strings are doubled. This top one is a single string. We call it the chanterelle, or the singing string. And the rest of the strings are all doubled. Many of them are unison. Here, that's the same string, unison. But the lower ones are in octaves. So it's an octave higher. And otherwise, the playing way is somewhat similar to the guitar. Most of us play the lute, though. When we play a guitar, we play fast notes like this. When we play a lute, we play fast notes like this, with the thumb and the first finger. That's the general way we play Renaissance lute. But sometimes later in the century, there are people that played like this as well, but most of us play like this. We think it gets a better tone for us, a better sound, because of the difficulty of playing with two strings sometimes. It's a little bit tricky. This part is always very pretty, and it's called the Rosette of the lute. And this is a place where an instrument maker can show some of his art, special ways that he maybe makes a particular rosette form. But it's also the same idea like a guitar, the sound hole, we call it on a guitar, but here it's a hole. Also about the lute, one interesting thing is if you held it in your hands, you'd find out it's very, very light. The instrument, the top of the instrument is really no thicker than this black line. This is how thick the piece of wood is, a very, very thin piece of wood. And that is a part of the whole making of it, what makes this nice special lute sound of it. So that's it, that's the lute.